Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. What we're doing is Sunday Comics, and Sunday Comics means I take a comic book and we just go through the whole thing, talking about it, just exploring an issue while talking about whatever comes to mind. Well, I when I first thought of this series, I thought I'd talk about like where I was and everything when I got these comics, but these comics I bought in a comic book store, The Incredible Pulp, years after they came out. So like there's really nothing. Normally when I bought a comic off the rack, I have like a not a vivid memory, but I kind of remember where I was at the time or what was going on or current events and things like that. But these I just bought like maybe one a week, as a I guess late teenager, what save up some money, working at the supermarket. I was probably working at a Wallbounds, a supermarket at the time. One of my first early jobs. I loved that job. That was fun. It just seems like this camera is a little off. I must have bumped into it or something. So that's just a trip down memory lane. And lately, I've been. When I say lately, I'm talking about 20 years. I've been kind of down on the X-Men. I'm just so tired of the woe is me, humanity is bad, we're being persecuted, crybaby stuff. I quit the X-Men like before the Jim Lee era even started. And I bought X-Men in eBay auctions. Like I bought like a whole long box of a run at one time. So these comics I kind of what's the word, binge read for a long. And whenever I binge read or binge watch TV shows, I don't seem to remember it. Like I watched Game of Thrones every week as it came out, and I vividly remember every episode of Game of Thrones because I had a week to think about it and everything. But Breaking Bad, I binge watched. This is like whole episodes I barely remember. So it's the same with later X-Men. But this period of X-Men I read and reread over and over again. Even though I bought these years later, I read and reread X-Men up to about 200 so many times. So, there you go. You can tell I'm a little sleepy. I've been fulfilling my comics, Heroic Tales 2. For those of you who are following along at home, Heroic Tales 2 is all spread out on the table right in front of me. And I was up till 3 o'clock last night fulfilling orders. So tomorrow I took a trip to the post office yesterday. I'll take a trip to the post office tomorrow. And I just want to be done. I want to get everything out there. I got one order last night. What a great guy. He got 2 pint glasses, a set of issue 1 cards, a set of issue 2 cards, issue 1 and issue 2, and then the variant covers. So I put a big box. So I just hope he gets everything. 2 pint glasses, 1 box. That was the heaviest box by far. Those pint glasses are heavy. So I hope my track record for issue 1 is I didn't break any pint glasses. So let's see how this goes. So let's check out the comments. So as you can tell, I'm a little sleepy because I went to bed at 3 and then woke up at this. All right. So first comment, we got David Brink. Dave, I just packaged up yours yesterday. It's going in the mail tomorrow. It's Sunday, so there's I can't take anything to the post office today. So tomorrow your package is going in the mail. Let me know when you get it. I'm curious to see how long it takes. Do you know that it's cheaper and easier to send a comic from New York to the Netherlands than it is from New York to anywhere in Canada? I've had nothing but heartache last campaign of getting stuff. Canada was the hardest to send. You have to fill out all these forms, and when you do it at home, it's always wrong. So anything to Canada, anything to England, I fill out the box, I put it in the box, wrap it up, and then I put it on the side. I write the address in Sharpie on the box, and I'm going to take them to the post office at the end. So Canadian and UK, you are going last. Those two countries give me more problems than anybody else. Netherlands, no problem. Just pay. I think there's like 4 stickers. You put the 4 stickers on the box, and we're off to the races. So we got Ben Sabar, voice actor. How you doing, Ben? Good to see you. The new streamlined vertical setting is not ideal for showing off comics on YouTube. These new features always take getting used. Yeah, no, I logged in. I haven't been streaming much this week because I'm trying to get all these comics out. And it looks weird. Everything's different, and I don't like it. I don't like different. I don't like new. How does it look to you guys? I don't. I'm hitting these new buttons, and I just don't like them. I don't like them. We got Marcus. How you doing, Marcus? How's everything? How's everybody? Everybody saying hello to each other. OmniPro, good to see you. I already received notification about your shipment. Yeah, I use Pirate Ship. So I go to pirateship.com and, I go to fund my comic or, I didn't get to Kickstarter yet. Kickstarter is going last because it's just so difficult on Kickstarter. And I just copy and paste your address, throw it in a box, and then it fills out everything. Then I got to go back, grab your email address, put your email address in, and as soon as I hit print, it sends you a notification. So you got notified that a sticker has been purchased, but it hasn't been dropped off at the post office yet. The shipping to Canada is expensive. Yes. I was just laughing because Frederick Gumont, who has the Rattel, that comic, he lives in Quebec. And it's something like $30 to ship to Quebec. And then I had another guy, I forget his name, who lives in Anchorage, Alaska. And it was $7. $7 to Alaska, $30 to Canada. Is Colossus's color off? He looks yeah, let's get more light on this actual comic. I turn the light down when I'm just talking because I don't need the light. As you can see, it makes my head glow. Yeah. He looks gray. Yeah, I agree with you. On X, it looks good. On YouTube, it doesn't. Oh, great. Is it the same as always? Is it like the same bed on YouTube? Or is it just... there's nothing I could do about it. I already started. Hope you're all having a blessed day. I got my blessing from Zactan. That's good. The vertical format on YouTube looks bad. No, YouTube is set to vertical. Oh, great. Oh, great. Is there anything I could do about that now? Is this... I hate that. I'm just going to go back to that. That's really all I could change. Notes, private chat, people, comments. Yeah, I don't know if I could change anything. I don't know. I just got it. It is what it is. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so let's get this going. I filibustered and wasted enough time. So this is the all new, all different X-Men 1 week engagement. This is 111. This is next month is the first X-Men comic that I bought off the spinner rack. So I'll talk about that next week. This one was one of the last missing comics for me to get. I don't know why this comic was so difficult to find. This is 1978, 35 cents. This is Dave Cockrum cover. Dave, as you can see right here, Dave Cockrum, Terry Austin. And again, I never realized how similar Dave Cockrum and John Byrne were, and Neil Adams, until I started doing this series. To me, John the X-Men, when I close my eyes and think of the X-Men, they're still drawn as John Byrne, Terry Austin. You know, they say when you're 12 years old, what you do when you're 12 years old stays with you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So like, you know, the original Star Wars, these X-Men, these are burnt into my personality. You know, everything about this. So this is my X-Men, and you know, so obviously I've missed out on the Dave Cockrum era by a year or whatever. The John Byrne, that's what comics are. That's like the Avengers to me. The Avengers will always be drawn by George Perez. You know, that's the Avengers for me. The X-Men is John Byrne. So you look at this, it kind of makes you think it's Arcade. Now I'm wondering, does Arcade even exist yet? Because Arcade debuted Chris Claremont and I think John Byrne in Marvel Team Up. But this is, you know, so what's going on? We got the Storm, Goddess of the Elements, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Z-Man, Monster, Wolverine, Killer Beast in human form, Savage. I like word balloons. I'm actually gonna put word balloons on the cover to Punchline Annual 2. I'll talk about that for a second before we get going. So Renzo is done with Punchline Annual number 1. What is Punchline Annual number 1? Well, Bill Williams, if you know, you might know him from Heroic Tales, he's the letterer. But Bill Williams has his own comic called Punchline. And it comes, he does a crowdfunder, and then when he's done with the crowdfunder, I think it goes through Antarctic Press and then goes through comic book stores. Well, he has annual number 1 coming out, and it's going to be giant sized or whatever. And he gave me 12 pages to tell a story. That was rough. I had to keep it exactly 12 pages. And I had to use his character. So Punchline stars 2 characters, Mel and Versima. And Versima's not in the story at all. It's Mel. And I got Renzo to draw it and Oscar to color it, and it is so good. Renzo's art is better and better and better. It's the best. It'll be the best thing so far until Patriarch number 1. That Patriarch number 1 is even better. But I think my writing and the team is just coalescing better and better. It's so good. Bill says he's just enamored with the story. Now I don't know when it's coming out, but my work is done. I think that I'm the first person to even start. You know, so I'm done. It's off to Bill. I just got he's gonna letter it, everything like that. I just correct the lettering, and I'm done. Now what he's doing is, I think I forget how many other people are in it, but each person's team gets to do a variant cover. So there's gonna be like 4 or 5 variant covers. The variant cover that Renzo did, I was like, let's go old school Justice League. So we have a Justice League theme on it. And I was like, I'm putting word balloons on the cover. You know, we're going old school. So anyway, this made me think of that. It's so good. You're gonna love it. It's so good. So good. And I'm excited. He's gonna do a crowdfunder for it, and then it's gonna be in comic book stores. That's so good. It's so good. All right, let's check out the comments, and then going forward, we know the deal. The Letterer is a great superhero name. I'm the Letterman. Do you remember from Electric Company? It's a word. It's a plan. It's Letterman. It's a tricky thing about team books that people like is often changing rosters. When adding or removing members, it still needs to hold on to the essence of what makes it interesting. Yes. Which is why I like the Fantastic Four. For 95% of the existence of Fantastic Four, it was the same 4 characters. Once in a while, you'd have an extra guy or a different guy or whatever, but the Fantastic Four was the same. And like the Avengers, you know, there's like different eras where there's completely different teams. You know, the Defenders, like same thing. There's eras of the Defenders where there's completely different teams. The Legion of Superheroes has so many members, they break up into teams, and you could go a couple of months just focusing on one team, and it's almost like a completely different dynamic. But I agree with you. It's tough. And speaking of which, Genuine Comics, Dave has Safeguard, a superhero team comic on Fund My Comic right now. I'm going to back it. I've just been so busy with my fulfilling that I haven't even thought about anything. I haven't read a comic, haven't done anything for since I got my stack of comics. I've been sorting them, bagging and boarding them, and then that took a couple of days, and now fulfilling. So don't worry, Dave, I'm going to back your book. Dave will be on my channel. I forget exactly which day. We'll talk about that at the end. But one of the things that I've learned, and I talked about this last week, was when you have a group, you got to keep, and when you're writing the script, you got to keep in mind where they all are. And, like Marcus, who's in the chat right now, he's drawing the Public Eye. And in the opening sequence, Public Eye fights 4 thugs. And then I give Marcus the script, and Marcus goes, "What happened to the 4th guy?" I'm like, What do you mean? What happened to the 4th guy? I reread the script. Yeah, one of the guys I forgot about in the. I said, I changed it to 3. So he gets jumped by 3 guys. You got to keep track of it. But that was just mindless thugs. You know what I mean? So I could, if I didn't tell you that story, you'd never know. But like when I was writing the punchline, I had to keep track of everybody, because all of a sudden we're not just gonna say, "Oh, Mary Sue's not there," or Patriarch's not. Like, they're named characters. You know what I mean? They're on a team. When you're writing the Fantastic Four, you're not just gonna say, "Oh, the Human Torch in the middle of the fight just disappears." You got to keep track of all that. Now, Dave has epic battles in his comics, and I'm sure he has has to keep track of everybody. You got to give, if it's a team book, as much as Richard C. Meyer went Berserkowitz, your boy Zach, whatever you want to call him, diversity in comics matter. He did say something that stuck with me. He did, I listened to him religiously for years, and he did say things that helped me. And one of them is, if it's that character's comic, that character has to do something cool at every issue. If you got a Superman comic book and the Green Lantern shows up, and the Green Lantern does everything, that's not that, that's cool, but Superman's got to do something cool. So this is an X-Men book, so everybody in the X-Men's got to do something cool. That's tough. So in the punchline story, I tried to have everybody. It was only 12 pages. And to be honest, most of those pages involve Mel's story. It is the punchline comic. It's not, my comic. It's not the Metal League's comic. It's punchline's comic. So that was tough. That was the hardest thing for me to write. And the name of the story is Rock in a Hard Place, and I really think you're gonna like it. It's a perfect example, if I may pat myself on the back, it's a perfect example of art to adversity, art to adversity. I was given strict limits and rules of what I could do. And my first draft was my characters doing everything cool, and Bill's character being a damsel in distress, and Bill didn't like that. So I had to rework it. I had to keep it within 12 pages. I had to let Mel do something cool. I had to get all my guys to, and it forced me to be creative. If I could have used any amount of pages that I wanted, it would have been a long, meandering story. And you know what I mean? It forced me to be succinct, and I enjoyed it. On a side note, I was talking to Matt Bauer about doing a project, and he was just talking about it last night. He was playing a video game on a stream, and I was up late fulfilling comics. So every once in a while, I just went to YouTube. Oh, Matt's streaming. So I was listening to him, and he was talking about the project that we want to work on. And I'm realizing that we have two different ideas for this same thing. So I was like, and he already started drawing characters. So I'm like, oh man, I think I have to change my concept of it to be more in line with what he wants. He is the artist and he is more well known. And it's easier to change the script than to change it. So, that it's going to be challenging, but I think that's going to be a fun kind of challenge. But anyway, Matt and I told him, I said, let me finish fulfilling these comics, and then we'll get on the phone and hash out all the details. They found the True Crawler, a carnival freak show. Yep, just kidding. It's not responsible with great power. Wednesday. So Wednesday at noon, Dave and I will be talking. Conversation. I know my channel's been slacking lately for two reasons. I'm fulfilling, and then this work schedule is just killing me. Safeguard. There you go. Pick it up. Hi, I'm new. Assassin's Arrow. How you doing, Assassin's Arrow? Cool. Good to see nice people. It's good to see nice people. Nice assassins. It's good to see new people. Thank you for showing up. Everybody's saying hello. I like that. Good. All right. So now I'm all caught up. Let's check this out. I've got to say, the way John Byrne and Dave Cockrum draw women has been with me my whole life. Like, just the proportions of Storm, the hips, the waist to hip ratio. Oh my God, that just kills me. You know what I mean? He draws the most, like Storm right here. She's considered dressed for a lot of the way comics are today, and she just looks sexy. Just the tilt of her body. It's so good. Let's open up the comic. So, Mind Games. So we got Chris Claremont is the author, John Byrne penciler, Terry Austin inker. These names kill me. Tom Wojciechowski, letterer, Mary Titus colorist, Archie Goodwin editor. And what do we got here? His name is Hank McCoy, and when he was born, he looked as human as you or I. All that has changed. In his younger days, he was one of the original X-Men, but that too has changed. He is now an Avenger, and his contacts with his old friends and teammates have become few and farther between. Which brings us, albeit indirectly, to Sullivan County, Texas. The Beast has come here looking for his X-Men, and he's found a whole lot more than he's bargained for. Now, I always say, so, okay, I'm getting a bunch of thoughts, focus, too much coffee. So, this is called the splash page. I'll start at the basics for those of you who are new. We got Assassin's Arrow, can't assume. A splash page is when there's only one panel on the page. Usually, it's the first page of a comic, but not always. And so we got a splash page here. We got Hank McCoy, the Beast. I'm trying to think. This is the first time the Beast has been in the new X-Men. I'm purging. I'm going through my memories since X-Men 94 and Giant Size X-Men #1, the new X-Men. Beast has been in the comic, but it was like I forget if it was a robot or an illusion, and he was in his human form. Now, I always tell this story. Around this time, I was collecting the X-Men. I was already collecting the Avengers, and I already knew the Beast as the blue furry beast. I didn't know the X-Men, believe it or not, were relatively unknown even right now. They weren't that popular yet. They did not become the juggernaut that we know now. They were almost canceled. They were bi-monthly. As far as I know, this is the first monthly issue. I'm trying to look, if it says monthly. I can't read all of this yet. There's not enough light. But Marcus, is this the first monthly issue? Do you know? And they're starting to amp it up. They're starting to become more and more popular, but they're not the Juggernaut yet. So I didn't know that the Blue Beast had a human form, and I didn't know he was on the X-Men. So to me, this is the Beast. This has always been the Beast, and the Beast is, like, in my memory, an Avenger. Now he's synonymous with the X-Men, but when you're 12 years old, that's what you know. And I always wonder, like, when they show close-ups of nobodies, do they just use, like, are these people that John Byrne knows? Like this woman's face, is that Mary Titus? But none of these are John Byrne as far as I know. But usually when they do close-ups, it's people's faces. So I wonder if this is like John Byrne's family, a friend of his. I don't know, but it's just funny. Sometimes you see, like, they put, like, Chris Claremont and John Byrne, Terry Austin in the crowds. They do that a lot. You'll see. So now we got this wonderful, what do you call it? There's a word for this, but like this rectangular panel. Hear ye, come razzle dazzles. And we got the X-Men. What are they? They're in a circus sideshow. This glorious picture of Storm, Nightcrawler teleporting. Wolverine, I like, he's covering him. Like, is he naked? Is he just a wild savage man? Does he have a loincloth? We don't know. Colossus over here. And then Phoenix, $5. I'm asking you if the show's cheap. And the price, yowza. Carnival Barker. Banshee, a Carnival Barker, and those posters behind him. For the pictures I've seen, they could be the new X-Men, but I'm not sure. So yes, this confirms it. This is the first time Beast is meeting the new X-Men. I think I'll nose around. So if these aren't the X-Men, I'll simply steal away the night and check Cerebro for malfunctions. So we got some backstory over here. I suppose I could have taken out my time to meet them, but my life in the Avengers has been so hectic lately, I haven't had a chance. I'll nose around later. So he went to go finally meet the new X-Men. His duties as an Avenger have kept him busy. He found them missing, so he used Cerebro, and Cerebro brought him here. But he's not sure because he hasn't met them yet. That could have been Wolverine. This teleporting character could be Nightcrawler. I mean, they can't be two like him in the world, can they? If only I was certain. He stinks. Hey, Marty, I heard a cat smell like that. I heard a cat yell like that once when Mama stepped on his tail. Is that our goddess? I wouldn't mind monking in the boondocks. You know what I mean? Now that is what I call a total woman. Poor kid, whoever she is, she shouldn't have to put up with this. From the stories I've heard, though, Storm wouldn't. So they got Storm dressed up as the Savage, woman. She's going to do some cool weather magic. Okay, so Marcus says this is still bi-monthly. It says it in the indicia, but with the lights and the tiny writing, I couldn't really read it. The man Beast of the Yukon. So Beast is like, what is going on? And then we got this werewolf over here, the Adventures of Grit Boy. An exciting offer for Earthlings. If you live on Mars, you're screwed. The official Star Wars fan club. So, okay. Marcus says X-Men went monthly with issue 113. By the way, the series wasn't officially called the Uncanny X-Men until before. Yep, they're just called X-Men. Yep, all new, all different. You're right. So now we have the full backup. What's going on? So, what does prove? I still haven't anything concrete, and I've only got so far to work on my hunches. Oh, Lorna, what have you got me into? So she was frantic when she phoned from Scotland. Havoc had been kidnapped, and she'd been able to get any answer when she called the X-Men for help. So I hot-footed it up to the mansion to see what I could do. The X-Men were on a mission. Even if the X-Men were on a mission, I could still use Cerebro to find Cerebro. Cerebro or Cerebro? They say Cerebro. But I always used to say Cerebro. And judging from the mail, it's been quite a while. Having a great time. Wish you were here, Charles and Leandra. Who's Leandra? Which begs the question. Oh, yeah, so they're still on Earth. So Charles and Leandra are vacationing, getting to know each other. So he comes to the X-Men, and there's food still on the table. They didn't clean up. But Beast is just like, they disappear in between bites. But they're superheroes. They could have gotten a call or whatever and just left. So he's not freaking out yet. So he goes to recap everything. Havok has been kidnapped. So he goes to the X-Men to find out if they know where Havok is. He finds the X-Men missing. Food still on the table. He's just like, this ain't adding up. But he's not freaking out. So he's using Cerebro. And Cerebro brings him here to Texas. What does he say? I don't know what I expected when I flew out here after calling the Avengers about Havok. To see that story turns out, check out Marvel Team Up number 70. Okay, so that'll tell us what happened to Havok. And why is that connected? Because Chris Claremont and John Byrne write that or do that too. But Mr. Mike's One Ring Traveling Circus show was nothing makes sense. And the harder I try to figure things out, the crazier it is. That aerialist, for instance, she's a redhead. She could be Jean, but if that poster outside is any indication, she sure isn't the Marvel girl I know. So Beast doesn't even know that Jean Grey is no longer Marvel girl. She's Phoenix. So now we have it from her perspective. She's doing aerial tricks. So, and he screams, she missed. Got to get out there before she killed. What the? And before everyone stunned disbelieved, the woman falls seemingly to certain death, and then at the last possible second, she spreads her arms and floats gently down to earth. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a round of applause for Miss Destiny. I was watching as she fell. There were no hidden wires. I've seen Jean use her telekinetic powers enough to know from anywhere. It's time I made my move. So, excuse me, Miss Destiny. The door's open, sport. I'm a lady who loves to meet the public. And make it short, sweetheart. I've got a heavy date, huh? What's the matter, handsome? Cat got your tongue? So she talks like, an old-timey, I don't know what the word is, but she talks old-timey, and she's got the cigarette. She's got way too much makeup on. There you go. Cerebro. Yeah, I used to say it wrong. I say a lot of names wrong. So there we go. We got skateboards. See, this is what skateboards look like when I was a kid. Narrow, long, narrow. And then by the time, when I'm talking like I was 12. And then when I was like 16, 18, they came back and they were like wider. And I thought they would be easier. I hurt myself and I was done. My friends were all at skateboards. I wasn't. I just think I made a terrible mistake. No way is this Jean. Say something, okay, hunk? I don't like starers. I'm looking for a friend of mine, a woman named Jean Grey. Look at the makeup. She's got bad girl makeup on. She's got the green eyeshadow, the heavy lipstick. She's got the sexy stockings. So you found her, Chunky. Only I don't remember any friends like you. Marvel girl? Sheesh, a kook. I should have known. Fellow, my handle's Miss Destiny, like it says on the door. You got any troubles, baby? Slim. He's got his name written on him. This bozo's got me confused with some other broad. Get him out of here, will you, Slim? I got a date with the boss. Slim. Scott. You heard the lady, mister. Take a walk and don't stop until you hit town. Scott, it's me, Hank. Don't you recognize it? Beat it, punk. I don't know nobody named Hank. And cripes. Slim, his face, he's a monster. And then there's a brief scuffle as Miss Destiny screams, echo out, and then she tosses him out. And then, hey, Rube. That's hey, Rube. So much for the subtle approach. I should have decked him, I suppose, but I couldn't help pulling my punch. I shouldn't have decked him, but I couldn't help pulling my. So, hey, Rube, this is the. I don't know if it's true. I'm not a carny. Never worked in a carnival. Carnivals aren't that real big in my. Is this out of focus? I'm just going to turn off the camera and start it again. stop the extra camera, add the extra camera. It just looked like it was out of focus. Yeah, that looks a little better. And maybe my hand messed it up. And we're not completely centered. There we go. That's a little better. So, Hey Rube is the call of trouble. I don't know if that's real or not, but that's like comic book lore, for reasons. Comic books seem to spend a lot of time with carnivals, and we learn all this carnival language. Hey Rube. So, what is that thing? Who cares, Bruno? He's got a snooping. And the boss says we got to put down all snoopers down hard. Shoot, it ain't human, Willis, you dumb cluck. You dumb cluck. You went and left the gorilla cage open again. Sorry, Charlie. You got it wrong. What you got here is a 100% bona fide card-carrying Avenger who seems to have a knack for getting into scrapes. Now, notice nobody's saying, holy moly, he's blue. I don't know if it's official yet that the Beast and Nightcrawler are blue. I think at this point we're still supposed to just buy that the blue coloring symbolizes like a natural sheen on characters. But maybe I'm wrong, because they used to have a problem with like black hair. Like Black Panther and Superman's hair always had like that blue tint to it because of the coloring and the paper and everything like that. So when you made something all black, it came out as a smudge. And in Amazing Adventures 15, when Hank McCoy turned into the blue furry beast, he was black, and the coloring was pretty poor so that he looked like a silhouette. And then some appearances of the Black Panther, you had the same problem. So that's why they colored it in blue. So I don't know if the Beast now is supposed to be blue. Like if they drew a gorilla, would the gorilla be blue at this point? Is the coloring up? I know by the time they do the computer coloring, this is still hand coloring. I know the time they could do it all and do the gradations and make it look fine and everything, and it's not just a silhouette or a smear. You could see the subtleties and the lines and the musculature of the character. But at this point, long-winded way I'm saying it is, I think the Beast is still supposed to be like a natural color, because they call him a gorilla, but they're not saying blue. And as far as I know, they just call Nightcrawler Fuzzy Elf. They don't call him Blue Fuzzy Elf. So I don't know if at this point we're supposed to accept them as blue. Later on, we just accept them as blue. Like they're not saying he's a blue gorilla. They're just saying he's a fuzzy thing. He seems to have an Avenger. Take him anyway. You can take him back to the slam and make sure he doesn't escape. He jumps high. The Hulk the Hulk, remember, has been in carnivals. So this little kid is seeing the Beast, and now the Beast is just beating the crap out of clowns, which I 100% endorse. Can't stand clowns. Never liked clowns. Beat them up. Beat up all the clowns. So Omnipro says, Ringmaster, Circus of Crime vibes. Okay. I'm not spoiling it. Which looks better, Burns' Beast or George Perez's Beast? Man, that's tough. Those are my two favorites. I will say John Byrne's Beast. Why? Because John Byrne, in my mind, it's like it's either Terry Austin inking him or John Byrne inking John Byrne. George Perez had so many different inkers. With George Perez is being inked by himself, it's that is just the hardest. So you know what I mean? But George Perez has had some bad inkers. I imagine all black would be hard to shade. Exactly. Thank you for succinctly explaining what I took too long to explain. So let's turn the page. Let's turn the page. Why isn't it turning? All right, we got ads over here. All of these Marvel Collectors comics. Also, so we got some Treasury editions. These are the Super Gigantics and some other comics. So just get some back issue merchandise. Logan's Run. How's that for a blast from the past? Get a free booklet. Get some Dreamy Muscles. I always like this. The dynamite sticking out of the muscle. Oh, oh. Can you imagine you flex and sticks of dynamite go shooting it? At people. And I'm all boxed in, and if that clown's any indication, they'll have rifles covering every exit. There's still a show going on. I got at the big top. I got to find a place to lay low in that freak show tent. As much as I hate to admit it, looks made to order, and in time for the posse thunders by. So now he's just loquaciously explaining, I gotta hide, gotta buy my time, but I'm pretty sure something freaky is going on. But that's Chris Claremont. He's a lot of words. I can't risk handling this alone. Any force of being able to zap in the X-Men isn't one to be taken lightly. I wonder who it could be. Well, what's important now is getting some replacements here on the double. Like, for instance, the rest of the Avengers. No noise outside, but boom. So he's talking. You know, this should be word balloons, if you ask, thought balloons. And then boom, Colossus. Did you see this fist? Boom, hits him. Ooh, anyone got the number of that Uru hammer? If that was a fist that hit me, I don't want to see what body it's attached to. Hey, you guys, the Rusky found him. The talking teddy bears in the freak show tent. Thanks a heap, Colossus. We got Wolverine over here. That punch hurt. My head's full of cotton wool and railroad spikes, and my legs feel like rubber. Could barely stand, let alone fight. So give the Beast credit. He tries, but he's too badly hurt. So Colossus hit him right in the back of the head. Boom. He's dazed right now. He's all disorientated. And now he's getting rat piled. You know, and Wolverine's just watching. They're just hitting him with sticks. Boom, boom. The old-timey 1940s hats and all. Do we kill him, Georgie? Nope. The boss will want him alive. Take him to the main caravan. Boss says he's going to do for Fuzzy what he did for the others. And Wolverine is just watching and raging. Hello, I think the mutated Beast was gray early on. Yeah. They tried a few different colors. He was black, he was gray, he was slate, and then they settled on the blue. They did the same thing with the Black Panther. Yeah, and like I said, like Superman's hair, instead of being all black, it had like a blue highlight down the middle. The early coloring and the early printing, they had 4 colors originally, and then Neil Adams, if I remember correctly, found out that they could use more and more colors, you know, and then but they were still being painted. You know, there was a person, usually a woman, taking art. I don't know if they used photocopies or if they colored on the original art. I wasn't there. Literally colored. And a funny story was that I heard was, I think it was Barry Windsor Smith, when he first went to Marvel and said, yeah, I could. They asked, can you color, kid? And he was like, yeah, I could color. And he said he never colored. And he was coloring this panel. And then he was coloring this panel. And one of the women colorists was just like, oh, well, you know that you should color the Beast on the whole page first. You know, it's quicker. And he's like, yeah, I knew that. I was just, you know, so like basically she figured out that he was bluffing and helped him out. Like, color the Beast. If you got the blue out, color everything blue, and then go back and color everything yellow, and then color, you know, it's quicker that way. Instead, he was coloring each panel. You know, all right, here we go. We're going to turn the page. And what we got here? Dum, dum, dum. Mesmero. There's the bad guy. George, what he said about it. He's an Avenger. Suppose his pals come looking for him. I mean, if the Beast found us, they could. I know. But try telling that to the boss. Billy Boy is almost like he wants the Avengers to come. Billy Boy, it's almost like he wants the Avengers. Boss, it's Georgie. We got the Beast. Excellent. Bring him in. Hello, Beast. It's been a long time. You, Mesmero. Look at that. Look at that costume. Crazy costume. Of course, who else could have conceived of such a delicious revenge against his most hated foe? Surprised? After all, you think that after all it's done, I'd forgotten about you and your fellow X-Men? Hardly, Beast. You'll never get away with this. I snagged Marvel Girl in Grand Canyon and Grand Central Station in the confusion of the rush hour crowd. She didn't realize her danger was too late. Who's to stop me? She gave me access to the Avengers Mansion, and there all the X-Men fell like dominoes. Instant eye contact was all I needed to enthrall even the strongest among them, just as I will enthrall you, Beast. We got these crazy eyes. Purple and green. I don't know. I just love that. He's got a belt with an M on it, just in case you weren't sure. He's Mesmero. This is a character I've never cared for. I always hate when they just add an O, the exceptions being Magneto and Electro. Those are pre-existing words. But, like, I'm Smash-O. I'm Punch-O. I just hate that. The other is you add R at the end. I am Mesmar. Thunder. I hate that. And this costume is just the worst. Green and purple. Got a purple cape. I had it on good authority that comic book professionals never have purple on male characters. What do I know? Select from our fine jewelry. Send no money. 15 days. There you go. You want some jewelry? That's the first thing 12-year-old boys want is jewelry. This is so out of place. You know what I mean? Marvel's like, yeah, sure. Put it in here. Remember, the ads served a purpose. The ads made comic books cheaper. The more ads that they sold, the less they could sell the less money they needed to sell the comics for. So the more ads lowered the cover price. So at the time, I used to get annoyed at the ads, but now that Marvel Comics, DC Comics, it's only house ads. Like, do they even have video game ads? They don't have movie ads. Like, get ad people, get on it. Make the comic books affordable again. They colored on photocopies and labeled the color with a code. There you go. Mesmero, his costume has always been iconic. So, it barely works for Lion-O. Yeah. Is Mesmero naturally green? If I remember correctly, he was a mutant. Maybe they'll bring us up to speed in the next couple of pages. It's been so long. So here we got some more rings. The Kelly Trio, $400. This is 1978 money, guys. Who is buying all this stuff? 1978. Somebody from Mark Jewelers got fired for wasting all the money on this. Holy mackerel. So we got Wolverine over here. Mesmero's eyes begin to glow amid the darkness. The midnight silence is broken by the sound of chains snapping. That same moment across the circus lot. The strain is murderous. As images explode against a miasmic fog enshrouding his mind. I don't read the entire comic. I basically talk about it. But this is just Chris Claremont at his purple Proteus. The links and the shackles, forged of the hardest steel money can buy. Guaranteed unbreakable, yet Wolverine never yields. The fight is sparked a response deep within him, a primal elemental need that's been at the core of Wolverine's being his entire life. I need to be free. What the flamin'? Where am I? Last thing I remember was Genie with some green-skinned dude. His eyes like fire, burning inside my head. I need some answers, and this bozo looks like he'll give them to me. Sing, Canary. 4, I count to 5, or I pop my claws. You're bluffing. 1, 4, 5. I'll talk. So Wolverine is the first to break free of Mesmero's enthrallment. Why? Because he's a wild animal and he doesn't like to be caged. Works for me. Here is Wolverine straining to break these chains. I like that. It shows that he does have some degree of superior strength. I don't want to say super strength. I know that's a weird distinction to make. So he's strong enough to break free from chains. Oh, God. Like I said, I stayed up way too late. He's strong enough to break through chains, but he's not strong enough to just do it willy-nilly. Now, who am I to argue with Chris Claremont? I would have had the supports, the bolts that go into the wall be the weak point. And he pulls them out of the wood, breaking the wood, leaving the chains on. But what do I know? What do I know? So he would have had because me being a construction worker, that is the weakest point. When you bolt something onto the wall, the supports, the bolts that go into the concrete, those are the probable points of failure, which is why you use multiple of them. Very rarely is the chain the weakest part of a support structure. It's, I guess I just repeat myself, but you know what I'm saying? If me being a guy who works in construction, if I was to write the scene, that's the way I would do it. It's just a pet peeve that probably none of you would have noticed before. You know what I mean? Because the chain, looks like it goes through all, like maybe this wood would have broke because he's not in an iron box. Whatever. Mark's Jewelers, fancy collecting. Yep. Niche collectible. Yep. Good morning, Long Boxo and Chat R's. Chat R's. You got to put 2 R's, like 1 R. That makes me laugh. I wonder if that makes me laugh. I'm sorry. I wonder if Claremont's writing style is informed by pulp comics of yesterday. Probably. Has anybody read any of his novels? I'd like to read his novels. I wonder if they got to be up there with Lovecraft as far as like too many words. Let's turn the page. This comic's a lot better than I remember it. I remember not liking it. Candy bars. Candy bar. I like checking out the names in the letters pages. Urendi Malidi. Now that's a name. Urendi Malidi. Sandy Jarrell. Gina Griffin. Bernie and Barb Armada. Interesting names. That's a lot of interesting names there. Ooh, more ads. Bet you 6 months of your favorite comic, you'll love Pizzazz. Does anybody, Marcus, do you ever read Pizzazz? I remember Pizzazz. I never read it. Wonder Bread. The way you like it. Fresh and soft. Why is there a bread ad in here? But you did get trading cards in the Wonder Bread. Man, trading cards, guys, trading cards were the biggest thing ever at this point. You had every like movie that was made for kids had trading cards. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. There was hockey cards, there was football cards, there was baseball cards. I collected baseball cards. I didn't know a thing about baseball, just cards. There's something. My buddy at work, Larry, not interested in comics at all. When I told him I was making comics, he told his kids, and then he was like, "Yeah, he's making cards." Like right here, I got the cards. This is Dr. Robug from issue number 1. He said his 2 sons went nuts. Cards. So he bought 7 copies of my comics, and I made sure I gave him 7 editions I gave him a full set of cards. I mean, I didn't have to ship. He paid for shipping through Fund My Comic, and then I handed him the comics, so I felt bad. So I gave him full sets of cards, and he said his sons didn't care about the comics; they wanted the cards. I don't know. His sons also are artistic. Now I'm wondering, is it like an autistic thing to want cards? Because I love cards too, and I look back at my behaviors as a kid, and I would have been diagnosed as autistic. But my father beat it out of me. That's the way it is. That was the treatment. Don't need no pills. Just need to smack. All right, so let's check this out. A few minutes later in Jean Grey's caravan, she's just a bad girl. She's got the mini skirt. She's got the hoochie halter top. She's got too much makeup. Some night, huh, Jeannie? Yuck. Just thinking about that fuzzy fruitcake gives me the shivers, And he said he knew me. Geez, I better run. I'm late for my date with the boss. Freeze it, Genie. You ain't going nowhere. Wolverine he's in his costume. He's ripping through things. Who are you? What do you want? You keep away from me. You hear? Keep away. Slim, help. Name's Wolverine, Gene, and I'm one of the X-Men, just like you are. All you gotta do is remember, back off, shrimp. You want to mess with Miss Gray? You're gonna have to go through Slim Summers first. And Wolverine just punches him. My pleasure, bub. Come here, babe. You and me are gonna have some words. Hey, ain't no need to be rough, you know. I won't scream or nothing. I'll do whatever you want. Only don't hurt me. Lady, I wish there was some other way. Now, checking this out literally for the first time in like 10 years, there's some creepy stuff going on. There is some creepy stuff going on. And I remember right around X-Men 135, my friend Sean, back then, I had my comic book friends, my friend Mike, who I'm still hang out with. He making his own comic called Marshall Strong over at Thunder Zone Comics, and they are part of the Heroic Tales universe. When he's done with his 6-issue miniseries for Marshall Strong, we already have an agreement that we're going to bring him over to Longbox Comics. I'm just going to redo some of the dialogue so that the continuity. He did his comic simultaneously with my comic. He wrote them years ago, and he tried to make them as literal to the adventures from our role-playing game as possible. Now, I had to change a few things because a lot of the adventures were based on movies and books and stuff like that. So I had to change a few things when I put him in the comic. So I got to change some of his dialogue to fit the continuity when it Longbox comic. But anyway, he was one of my comic book friends, Carl and Sean. They were all my comic book friends. And Sean said that a lot of creepy stuff happens to Jean Grey, and he felt bad for her. And that I didn't get what he was saying. Now, you know, this dialogue, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Now, I don't know if it's revealing about me, or if it's what Chris Claremont intended, or if it's just, you know, the years have gone by and made me a little bit more world weary. But Jean Grey is, you know, the bad girl. She's talking like a hoochie. She's got the date with the boss. And the first thing she says is, you ain't need to be rough. I won't scream or nothing. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't hurt me. Like, anybody, do I have to spell it out? But is Jean being like abused already? And then later on, the Hellfire Club. Like, is this setting up like her descent into Dark Phoenix? You know what I mean? I don't want to say like this is Chris Claremont like hates women or anything like that, because, you know, but like Jean Grey has just been a target, you know, and there's some bad stuff happening between the lines. If you get what I'm saying, just let me know. Are you picking this up too, or am I just a weirdo? I just feel bad. And to be honest, this is kind of an inspiration for the character Poinsettia in I Love a Mystery with the Public Eye that Marcus is drawing. She has a sad backstory. You know, I probably won't explicitly say it in the comics, but you should be able to pick it up if I'm doing my job correctly. I wish there was more time, but there ain't. I broke out of my hypnotic trance by reacting to things on a gut instinctive level. So this begs the question, why was the Beast in this story? Wolverine broke out on his own. Beast was MacGuffin. He didn't need to be in this story, right? There's nothing the Beast did that triggered Wolverine. He was fighting this the whole time. Maybe seeing the Beast struggle caused him to struggle a little bit faster, but he would have broken free. So is that a mistake? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I would have But Beast didn't know Wolverine, so he could have shouted something, but you know what I mean? Really nothing happened. Nothing. The Beast didn't do anything to free the team, is what I'm trying to say. Wolverine's animalistic, freedom-loving nature freed the team. Now I got to make Genie do the same. Down. It's part of me buried so deep that even Mesmero's powers couldn't touch. Yeah, I'm messing up. Now I got to make Genie do the same. Down inside, there's a lot we're a lot alike, even if she don't know it yet. I'm scrambling these slaps. Will scramble her head to bring her part to the. Come on, Genie, react. Stop. Don't make me hit you, little man. Don't you ever hit me like that again. So I love this. Genie ain't herself. I gotta slap her. Sometimes you gotta slap a girl. You know? And then she breaks free. Don't hit me, little man. Don't you ever hit me like that. What? What's happening? Wolverine, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm banged up, but I'll live. Shoot, lady. You pack a mean zap. Help me up, will you? We got to use your powers to free the rest of the X-Men. Now, has Wolverine... I trying to keep track of stuff like this. Has this been expressed that Wolverine regenerates yet? You know, I think they only... You know, I don't think they explicitly said that Wolverine is regenerative. Now, look, I like her hair has changed. You know, did she telekinetically make her hair grow? Was this all hairspray? I don't know. But, you know, I love this panel over here. Boom. What is Cyclops doing? He's just standing there watching Jean Grey get slapped around. Is he coming too? Oh, wow. A lot of comments. Marcus says, I don't remember reading Pizzazz. Nobody did. Nobody read Pizzazz. They just published it. The only reason I know anything about baseball because my childhood friends would always talk about Mickey Mantle and Darius Strawberry. Yeah. You know, it's hard to escape baseball, but I was never a fan of baseball. I tried. I got to say, I played Little League. I tried football. I never official like a league, you know, football league with the helmets and pads and everything like that. Intramural leagues, you know, the towns. I was on the Baldwin Bombers. I tried them all. I tried 2 years of baseball. Just didn't like it. It wasn't the exercise or anything like that. I just didn't care for sports. Not a sports guy. Wait, you're lifting a character from Thunder Zone to Long Box Universe? No, not lifting. The character is in the Long Box Universe. He's part of mine. Matter of fact, he references my other characters. Just Mike and I didn't know. Colonel Strong, Marshall Strong. He's already in the Punchline. He'll make the debut in Long Box Comics in the Punchline comic. So he's the leader of the Metal League, the super team. He wasn't referenced yet in Heroic Tales 1, but he's in cameo. There's a cameo of him in Heroic Tales 2. And you know, we already talked about it. And it's funny because I'm gonna write then, like, you know, there's gonna be like some dialogue. It's like, you know, I've seen you in, like, Patriarch said to me, I've seen you in a bunch of comics. He's like, yeah, I'm popular. I can't help. But only the comics in the Long Box Universe are official Long Box comics. You know, but if you read the Marshall Strong from Thunder Zone, there's a lot of those characters are my characters. But Mike, like, Pinpoint is Mike's character, Mike's nephew's character. But he calls him Mr. Clear in the comic book, but he was really Mr. Clean. The Secret Shogun. These are all my characters that I made up. The other teammates, Magnum is in that comic. Kid Nemesis is Michael's other role-playing character, but these are all going to be in Long Box Comics. Did any writer explore the idea that Jean Grey was unconsciously manipulating Scott and Logan to love her since she was abandoned? I don't know, but that's like a big thing of my idea about Cyclops, is that his whole life he's been in love or manipulated or mentored by telepaths. I just, and no, you know, that would be my story arc to redeem Cyclops. Find out that he's been manipulated by telepaths his whole life. Is it because when she's on birth control, she prefers bad boys, and when she's off it, she prefers stable trad men? That's funny. Toxic masculinity. Yeah, toxic masculinity wins the day. Wolverine just slapping a girl. Slapping a girl. Different times. We're way more sensitive to that type of things today than back in the 70s. Are we? Because it's kind of like, I mean, how else do you interpret? I won't scream or nothing. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't hurt me. And then she's how many times I got a date with the boss? I got a date with the boss. She's putting on lipstick. You know what I mean? Am I reading too much into this? I don't know. I don't know. Poor Jean Grey. Makes me feel bad for her. Makes me feel bad for her. Hey, RJ Williams is here. RJ, the third RJ. Check out Call Sign Orion. That's his comic. Feels a little sadistic, slapping Jean up. Kind of excessive. Well, how else? From Wolverine, it makes sense. I could see Nightcrawler pleading to her good side. I could see like Storm appealing to her like regal nature. We're women, you know, whatever. I could see Cyclops. Come on, Jean, I love you, whatever. But for Wolverine, he's not a deep thinker. You know, this is before the wise sage samurai Wolverine. This is bestial Wolverine. This is my favorite Wolverine. He's just the beast. And his bestial instincts freed him, so he's getting her bestial instincts. You know what I mean? I think it works for the character. I think it was established that Wolverine was a fast healer, but not like in the future. Yeah, I think when he said he's a fast healer, that was just like all superheroes are fast healers. You know, like I don't know if he has the power to regenerate yet. I mean, we all know he has the power to regenerate, but like, did they even say that he has the enhanced senses? Right now, he's just strong guy with claws, you know, strong wild guy with claws, and it's been established that he has, like I said, superior strength, not super strength. The Beast needed to bring us to the story and introduce Mesmero and his powers. That's true. That's true. Good thinking. Like I was, yeah. Like would we have just the Beast? Yeah, the Beast introduced us to the mystery. What's going on? Okay, good point. Good point, Marcus. My cousins played baseball all through childhood. Had to go to so many games. Usually end up under the bleachers playing with my GI Joes because baseball is boring. Oh my god, you know, as a construction worker, they'll put on radios or now Bluetooth and listen to ball games. They were talking about the World Series. I got nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? With like during breaks, they're all sitting there talking sports. These guys are all on fantasy football, fantasy baseball teams. A couple of guys got problems gambling. You know, I got nothing to talk about when that goes on. You got different streams going. I was commenting on the other one. They were also formatting different. One is I StreamYard updated, and you could do a format for your phone, and you could do a format for your computer, laptop, and this is the first time I'm seeing it. I heard RJ from the Fourth Age was dealing with it on his Wednesday, but I was driving so I wasn't really looking at the screen, so I didn't know. But I heard about it, and I thought I successfully avoided it, but I guess I didn't. I remember Captain Kirk slapping his crewmates sometimes. Yeah, you know, sometimes you got to slap a girl. Claremont couldn't write that Jean Grey dialogue today. I know. I don't know. Am I wrong? Hey, RJ, there you go. Call Sign Orion from my comic. Call Sign Orion. Chris Meyer had a similar issue last night. 2 streams going, but they look the same. Yeah. StreamYard, I don't know. I got a couple of days to pay my new StreamYard. Do I want to pay StreamYard, or do I want to go to like? I don't like Restream. The other one is Enviro, but I got to download all my preset stuff and bring it over. I don't know. I'm just. Am I gonna just keep paying for StreamYard because I'm used to it, and now they changed it, so I'm not used to it again? Get me on YouTube while working, and I'll talk you through the sports talk. Yeah, there you go. We'll do a sports channel, and I'll just be like, I don't know. I don't know anything about sports. Chris Claremont could have picked the story up after Wolverine broke free. Yeah. Not crazy about restreaming. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Yeah. I wasn't saying that it was a mistake to bring the Beast in. I'm just saying that the Beast, he contributed, as of right now, he contributed nothing to the rescue of the team, but he served the function of the new guy introducing us to the mystery, the confusion of the story. So he was he brought the reader into the mystery. He was kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? But he didn't save the team. Wolverine saved the team. I know as much about sports as I do comics. I mean, I know nothing about sports. I can talk music. But I can't talk sports. The high school course. The Charles Atlas ad is so tiny over here. All these ads. Again, every time I see this, in my mind, this is just like a monoped. I don't even like seeing it. And then, babe, we got some scores. Impossible. I'm still using my fullest strength, yet the Beast resists my hypnotic powers. Can't win them all, huh, Messi? Can't hold out much longer. Skull feel like it's about to burst. If only he'd ease off a bit, I think I could bust loose. Boss, the other freaks, the X-Men, they've gone crazy. They're thrashing everybody in sight. We can't hold them back. What? See what I mean, Mesmer? Your grand design for vengeance is turning out to be a house of cards. And here's where a certain bashful, blue-eyed, blue-furred, they say right here, blue-furred, bon vivant does what he does best, to help bring about the house down on your ears. You've had your best shot, pal. Now it's my turn. Put up your dukes. That's a great line. Put up your dukes. I'm only going to hit you once or twice or thrice. It can't be. That is Mesmero. Who is there? So what happened? We got something hit in the back of the head. Mesmero's taken by surprise. What's going on? Now the X-Men are free. The X-Men are indeed settling a few scores, thanks to Phoenix. They remember everything that happened to them in the weeks that they've been in Mesmero's power. And they like none of it. So that's good. So Wolverine freed Jean Grey. Jean Grey used her telepathic powers to free everybody. Remember, Jean Grey has telepathy and telekinesis. Telepathy is the ability, far away empathy, thoughts, feelings. Telekinesis, far away. Kinesis is force, touch. It gets me so mad when people say, like, Xavier uses his telepathy to move things. No, he doesn't. He uses telepathy to read people's minds. Every once in a while, I think they goof and they give Xavier telekinetic abilities, but Xavier has telepathic abilities, not telekinetic. He can't move things from a distance. He can sense things from a distance. It's different. I have a mechanism in my role-playing game to explain things like that. It's called power stunts. And you can make rolls to use your powers in different ways, because like the Human Torch, I remember one issue, he used his fire to make a stethoscope, and then he was listening into people's conversations, and he found the wizard in one of those Strange Tales number, when he was before Nick Fury took over. How do you make a fire telescope and then zero in on whatever? It was a power stunt, and it made sense in my game, because all powers are inherently the ability to think that you could do it. You'll see if I continue making stories, you'll see that there's exceptions to the rule. And I put in the comic book, their eyes glow whenever they're doing stuff that they normally can't do. And when you're doing power stunts, when you're using powers in ways that are not normal to your power set, you're drawing more power from this source of power, and it literally scars your brain. And like Lord of the Rings, when you use the power of the ring, you could go corrupt. The patriarch, his family keeps him a little bit grounded. Colonel Strong, the patriarch and Colonel Strong, Marshall Strong, Michael's character from Thunder Zone, they have been active superheroes pretty much longer than any other, with a few exceptions. But the other exceptions have debilitating weaknesses because they're so grounded. Whereas Marshall Strong doesn't really do power stunts. He is one of the world's greatest psychologists, and because of that, he understands the nature of superpowers better than anybody else. So he doesn't strain his abilities. He's a clever thinker. He's like Captain America. He's very tactical and figures things out pretty quick. So he doesn't need to pull more power from this extra-dimensional source to possibly drive him crazy. And then the patriarch, he'll do it because a meteor's coming. He's got to break that meteor before the city gets destroyed. But he's pretty grounded. He comes home, you know what I mean? So that's saving him from going crazy. Will it constantly work? Only time will tell. So what does that have to do with any of this? I don't know. So Jean Grey's using her telepathic power to wipe out Mesmero's influence. They got this great shot of the X-Men over here. Just so cool. Nightcrawler doing something cool. So we what did we see? We saw Beast doing cool things. We saw Wolverine doing cool things. Will we see the rest of the team doing cool things? Let's see. We got Nightcrawler over here. They're outnumbered better than 8-1 by Mesmero's roustabouts. Bottom of the barrel bruisers gathered from the cheap dives of 4 states. The back alley muscle men expect their fight to be a massacre. They're right. Only they end up biting the dust. So boom, boom, boom. Nightcrawler gets to do something cool. Nightcrawler does something cool. And then Cyclops, hitting them hard, X-Men. He uses a tight focused beam to take out the guns. Storm over here. Have no fear, Cyclops. Some of these creatures will escape. But if these motherless scum have gods, they should thank them with all their craven hearts that the X-Men do not believe in killing. Even so, I'm sorely tempted. Now, why are the X-Men so pissed? Their free will, their agency, their identities have been taken away for weeks. I think they got the right to be a little bit miffed. Their lives have been interrupted. Who knows what they've been doing for 3 weeks? Locked in cages. It's just the fact that they're not killing everybody is a testament to how heroic they actually are. Really cool. Really cool. Also, I think Claremont and Byrne wanted to reestablish the Beast as an X-Men. Yeah, the Beast plays a big part for the next, 25, 26 issues. Great issue. So artistically influential. I agree. Cool setup. How you doing? Good to see you. I don't recognize the name or the avatar at least. And then what do we got here? We got Stan Soapbox. This is a big Stan Soapbox. They're talking about the Marvel Close Encounters, the Beatles, and what are they called? Marvel graphic editions or something like that. And then John Veerputten dies over here. So here we've got a tribute to him. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I gotta stress that movie was a phenomenon. We in 1978 we're still talking about Star Wars, but we forget that Close Encounters of the Third Kind was a big deal. I recently rewatched it maybe about 4 years ago, and I am amazed. First off, it's an excellent movie. It stands up really well, but I am amazed how I saw that as a kid and freaking loved it, sat through it. There's a lot of slow parts. Like nowadays, anything like that kids like is fast paced, flashing lights, music, everything like that. But man, there's a lot of like character setup, pace, slow pacing, character moments. I don't know if they made that movie today, would kids sit through it? Like, does anybody have children See if they'll watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Because remember, at this point, we didn't have Netflix and everything like that. So as a kid, I used to sit through Barney Miller. Like, granted, I had toys in my hand and I was playing, but like Barney Miller. Go watch Barney Miller right now as an adult. It's rough. It's one stable camera. It's like watching a play on TV. And then we got Thor meets a glutton for gold. So there we go. I am Gudrun, the golden owl. So he's stealing everything that's gold, including. So they steal it all, Asgard's gold. And then Thor makes a deal. He swaps Twinkies for the gold. Perfectly good. What else are you going to use gold for? Might as well get Twinkies, right? And here we go. We all are, Storm. We are people. Yet Mesmero treated us like things, puppets to be used and thrown away. And to think I used to love the circus. That's right. Nightcrawler was a circus acrobat. That's the last of them, Cyclops. So they're pissed. Even Nightcrawler. Look at his face over here. We got Banshee. Banshee really didn't get to do anything cool, unless you want to call that cool. Cyclops flying on the floor. It's the Beast Colossus. I'm mind probing him, Cyclops. Beast, okay, just unconscious. Thanks, Phoenix. All right, Mesmero. Funny game's over. Do you come quietly or do we take you apart? Mesmero. Good. So Mesmero just collapses. I wouldn't be too worried about Mesmero if I were you, Cyclops. I should say, instead, worry about simply surviving to see tomorrow's sunrise. Lenin's ghost! Gods of the earth and air. Lord, no. We're nowhere near ready. Greetings, X-Men. I trust you're all recovered from Mesmero's mind games. We have unfinished business. You and I, if you'll remember, when we last met, and what does he say? X-Men 104, I swore that not all your powers or your skills would save you from my wrath, and they will not. For this time, the final victory will belong to Magneto. So, again, just think about the last couple of issues. It's funny reading them or revisiting them once a week in rapid order. It's real flimsy. It's real flimsy. We back like the X-Men, like they meet Havoc and Polaris and then they fight, and then it just happens to be Dakin is behind the scenes, and then next issue, let's gonna go to Cassidy Castle, and they happen to fight the Juggernaut, Blacktown Cassidy, and then then we got this big space epic, and then last issue, Warhawk tests them and says he's working for the Master, and then this issue they're it's just things just happen to the X-Men. And notice that so far the only where mutants were persecuted story was that Sentinel story, around 99, I think it was 98, 99, and 100. This is just Action Team that kind of just things happen to and they react, on the flimsiest. But the thing is, their art and the writing and the characterizations and everything, the connective tissue is so good that we don't realize that the skeleton has osteoporosis. It's just, but it's great at the same time. Close Encounters is one of my favorite movies. It really is a good movie. It really is a good movie. And kids love that movie. At least they did back in 1978. It spawned like spoofs and everything, cards. And there's really the aliens show up in the last 30 seconds. Wow, amazing last page. It sure is. Close Encounters had an incredible soundtrack. A local disc jockey would play portions of it in the 80s. Like songs or the movie score. Like do 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 do. Then they made a disco version. I love this comics artwork. Great channel. Thank you. Thank you very much. That made my day. It is. This is a great Magneto. A great Magneto. Look at that. Two words. Say it all. 2 words that could very well sound the death knell of the X-Men. Magneto triumphant. And then this, another. The next issue is no, yeah. And then they go back. Sorry about the yawn. I don't want to spoil it, but it just becomes like a grand epic. And the X-Men, just like, one of the things I liked about this is this grand epic, and then coming back from the grand epic spawns these other adventures. You know, it's not like the Fantastic Four that like are actively exploring and find, or the Avengers that are like space Avengers that are like super cops reacting to emergencies throughout the world. The X-Men are kind of just like fumbling through and finding adventures. You know, it's really bizarre. The only other team that's more bizarre is the Defenders. Man, I should do a Defenders. They are just the most bizarre comic in Marvel's history, if you ask me. But this is great. So they don't even get to defeat Mesmero. So Mesmero captures them all, enslaves them all, takes away their will. If you ask me, he's doing creepy things to Jean Grey. And then they don't even get to punch him. We'll see next issue. You know. Now the only one is you know, Colossus got to punch Beast. I'm trying to think. The Banshee didn't really get to do anything cool this issue. Cyclops and Banshee kind of got the short shrift, but everybody else got to do something cool. And there's a lot of characters and only so many pages. So maybe next issue Banshee and Cyclops will get to do something cool. And there we go. The Secret Agent Spy Scope. Special cut price. Enjoy thrilling views up to 7 miles away. You know, spy on this guy and a girl. Spy on people. Deluxe Superpower Model. There we go. We got some baseball. Johnny Bench. Good hitting starts with the basics. Keep your eye on the ball using that bat right. So there you go. I remember not liking this issue, but now I'm liking it a lot more. You know, but as far as I'm concerned, this is like, now they're hitting their stride. The X-Men, you know, the next issue onward is what is that curve called? The exponential curve, where it starts out slow and then all of a sudden, you know, this is the point where it's the curve really takes off. Yeah, I agree. Omnipro says over here, the next couple of issues are epic. Absolutely. So I'm done with the issue. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. And at this point, I'll continue talking as long as the comments. I hope you guys are enjoying this X-Men series. I am. It's, you know, it's fun to revisit this run in such short order. I'm getting a kick out of it. So at this point, I usually tell everybody what's going on my channel. You know, for two reasons, my channel has slowed down. This work schedule it's been extended to February. But Wednesday at noon, I got Dave Brink. We're going to talk about Safeguard. I'll probably wait and back it on Wednesday. I'm so excited. It looks so good. And then Thursday, I got John Dexter at noon. We're going to talk about Alpha Dogs and Dime Store Detective. And then Friday night, we're going to do, you know, pick some obscure, known only to you, lesser known villains. You know, so that's good. And then next Sunday is X-Men 112, which is not the first issue. Now I'm thinking about it, 114 is the first X-Men that I bought in the newsstand. So we got, you know, I misremembered the number. But this issue is a lot better than I remember. Let's see. You buy it now. I never read this arc. I'm gonna have to collect it. Are they pricey? Yeah. The early John Byrne X-Men's are pretty pricey. I remember at one point they were like $150 a piece. I haven't checked out the prices because I got them already. So I haven't checked out the prices. Let me, if now I'm kind of curious. The John Byrne Chris Claremont X-Men at one point were really like $150 each. I don't know if that's the price anymore. Also got Patriarch 2. Enjoy it. Made me laugh at a couple of places. King Fu is hilarious. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I got good. If you like King Fu, keep your eyes peeled for Heroic Tales number 3. It's funny how you got to respond to what the fans like. I've always liked King Fu, and it's funny because King Fu is, again, Heroic Tales is based on my Mike of Colonel Strong. So I was the game master. I ran the game, and King Fu was a non-player character. He was a character that I made up and put in the game, and he joined the team because everybody loved King Fu. And my friend Jimmy, who he plays the character that the metaphysician is based on. I don't want to give away any of the details because he's very complicated. He's the most complicated character in the history of role-playing games. But Jimmy also created the Lucius Kane, and then I created the suit. So Lucius Kane, he wanted to be the bad businessman, and then I gave him the suit. And the suit's power was whatever he needed was always in his pocket. But I didn't tell him what to do with it. I just gave him something, and then he had to role play. Like he would find like a Polaroid picture, and he's like, whatever he does with that information is up to him. Like he was in the bathroom in a urinal, and he noticed that everybody there had this ring on. So he put his hand in the pocket, and he had the ring. He had the same ring, and he put it on, and they accepted him into this secret society, which later caused a problem because those rings are one of the other people just like, I don't remember this guy having a ring, and they found that the ring was taken off a body that was dead, so they accused him of murder. But anyway, this is a whole other thing. Make along to get to focus to what you're saying. King Fu was not a player character. Jimmy played the metaphysician. He also played another character who will be showing up. My friend Paul played Magnum. My friend Mike played Marshall Strong, Colonel Strong, and a couple other characters to play. But King Fu was me. I made him up. He was a non-player. And Jimmy, every once in a while, he would be like, well, where's King Fu? And then, yes, where's King? Everybody started liking, so I had to include him more and more and more. It's funny because now the same thing is happening. I introduced the character in a card, and everybody flipped for him. And in issue 3 of Heroic Tales takes place in Flushing, Queens. Flushing, Queens is downtown Flushing. It's Chinatown in Queens, and it's all Asian. There's a Korean part right next to a Chinese part. I don't think that there's a Japanese part, and then there's an Indian part, kind of on the border of Elmhurst. But that's where Mary Sue grew up. So she deals with something, and she encounters another Chinese martial arts based superhero that I had for years before King Fu. And I was just going to put him in the story. And I saw the reaction to King Fu. I said, why am I going to introduce another Chinese martial art superhero when everybody likes King Fu? So I just swapped out the characters. And you know what? It made it better. It made it so much better. And then their interaction in the story gave me an idea for Heroic Tales number 4. If I do continue the Mary Sue story, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, the fan reaction, got to give the people what they want. Don't kill off your characters in your first issue, Jawbreakers. Nice creature designs. Thank you so much. I'm real proud of it. Heroic Tales 2 is so much better than Heroic Tales 1. Patriarch number one is going to be so much better. The Punchline story is good, and Heroic Tales 3 is already written. It's going to debut the Raven, and then the follow up to Mary Sue, dealing with the consequences of what she did in issue 2. Who is more powerful, Mesmero or Mastermind? I'm going to say Mesmero, because Mastermind creates illusions, and Mesmero basically erases your memory and changes your personality and destroys your free will. He mesmerizes you. He changes you. He gets you to doubt who you are and become somebody different. Whereas Mastermind, if you remember, he needed a device to do that. He needed an outside source, and he could only do it. Like, he could create illusions. Everybody could see a mountain, but that mountain's not really there. That's powerful, and you got to be clever. I have an NPC who had illusion powers, and everybody thought he was the most powerful guy until they realized it was illusions. And then they kicked his butt. That's what Mastermind is originally. Just create the power to make you fool your eyesight. Once he got the ability to project into your brain, and it took one person, but he needed that device. So I'm going to say that Mesmero is more powerful. Look what he did to all of the X-Men. And if it wasn't for a personality trait of Wolverine, they would have stayed. Now, would they have stayed forever? I don't know. And, and he could do it. And it seems like once he does it, maybe once a day he needs to re-up it or whatever, because it can't just last forever. That's just, like, I keep thinking of like role playing. That's just a broken rule. But look what he did. He changed all of their personalities. They didn't remember. And if not for Wolverine's freakish resistance to being caged, who knows? Would they have stayed there today? Did I ever investigate Dispatch? No, I've been doing nothing but work and fulfilling these comics, and then like eating and sleeping. So I did not. I haven't even read a comic. I take it back. This morning I just wanted a break, and I read Command D #2. I have to say, this is by far my least favorite Jack Kirby thing. It's just an explosion of. It's like a fragmentation grenade of ideas. It needs to be focused. Issue #2, and it's already like jumping all over the place. But one of my favorite things he did was OMAC, and one of my least favorite things is Command. And I think they alternated. 1 month OMAC would come back, and the next Commandy would come back. So I got to check out Dispatch. That's right up my alley. That looks fun. I'm hoping to be done with fulfillment by the end of next a week from next Monday. Not this Monday coming up, but the following one. I hope to go to the post office with the last batch of comics, which will be the international orders, or at least the Canada and England. Jeez, those are rough. So there we go. But I'm glad you liked it. But I mean, if you have Twitter, if you wouldn't mind taking a picture and saying something nice, every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. Dave, yours is going in the mail tomorrow. I wonder how long it'll take to get there. Anything else anybody want to talk about? I don't know what else to say. I got nothing else to say. So, I guess that's it. All right. I'm gonna go eat something, and then back to fulfilling comics. Looks like X-Men 111 goes for about $45 on eBay, condition withstanding. Okay, so the prices did come down. At one point, these were all like $150 each, and this was 20 years ago. So you can imagine how expensive these were. These were some of like the most wanted in-demand comics of all time at the time. All right, but I'm gonna go eat something and then get back to work. So I guess at this point, it's time for me to say goodbye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.